Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by...
As always, Stephen Regular.
And...
Andrew.
Hello, how are you doing, fellow conquistadors, Spaniards, Musketeers?
They're not conquistadors, they're musketeers.
No,
though.
they've been conquistadors, now they're Musketeers.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
They did most of the conquistadoring already.
Yes, they're kind of done.
Yeah.
How very powerful at this time.
We're watching Alatriste today.
Yes.
This was Anthony's pick, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why'd you pick this?
Because
It sounds fucking cool.
It sounded awesome.
I follow different accounts on Twitter, on X, that love this movie.
They're going to give it
Really?
to you, all the movie
They
picks.
they talk about how it's like the best depiction of pike and shot warfare out there. I have to agree with that.
I agree with that
because
one.
it's the only depiction of pike and shot warfare out there. It's also very good. This is not a good movie.
No,
I'll just say that
it's
straight up.
not good. No.
There's good things in it.
Yes.
It's like one of the coolest movies I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. It looks great. The costumes are great. The time period's awesome. And then there's just the story doesn't exist.
Story
It is the second most expensive
Yes.
Spanish movie ever made.
And the first one, do you know what the first one is?
Agora.
That's right. I've seen Agora.
I don't know what Agora is.
Agora is a movie that takes place in Roman Alexandria, starring Rachel Wise. And she's like,
like a good
I saw
Mrs.
years.
Daniel Craig.
I saw it years and years ago, and I just remember it was like Christians bad, pagans good movie.
Okay.
So
Is it fodder for the show?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think it was about a woman named Hephaestia,
Okay.
who was like the last pagan like woman of science in Alexandria, and she's being put down by the church.
Okay.
I have a great analogy for this movie because, like you said, it's beautiful, and a lot of it is like vignettes of paintings.
Yes.
Now,
Which is very cool.
It is the equivalent of walking through a museum where you're looking at paintings from this time period in the 1600s, and it's just as boring. If you've never done this before, most of the paintings around that time were pretty boring.
I like paintings from the 1600s.
You like the famous ones.
I do.
You don't know about the average ones.
What? What do you mean? Like it's beautiful art.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
just-
your beef with art? You were punching the Mona Lisa a few
just-
episodes back.
I punched the Mona Lisa?
What
What?
Brian said made me laugh
When
really
you
hard.
said you don't
You
like
hate the Renaissance.
and I said Steve would punch his
Oh, I
fist
just think
through
the
Mona
time period.
Lisa.
No, the art's good. The time period is just boring.
Yeah, you're nuts. This is a crazy time period.
This movie is a prime example of that.
So here's the problem with the movie, and I think it's kind of they tried to do too much rather than do what makes the book series successful. So it's
Yes, this is based on
It's based on a
books.
book series. This guy was like a journalist in Spain, and his daughter was
When are the books from?
like the 90s, 2000s.
Okay,
Like they're not too far removed from when this
the
happened.
movie came out.
And he was looking through his daughter's history textbook, and basically he discovered that they glossed over like 100 years of Spanish history when they're like at their peak in like his child's book.
Well, that makes sense because the period depicted here is like the twilight of
That's
the
the thing.
Spanish. It's like when they started to come apart and like
This is the end of the
Fell-
Spanish Empire.
right fell into being like a second-rate power or even a third-rate power.
Depending on how you want to look at it,
Yeah.
yeah. So he got annoyed at that like this book just like wasn't telling the full story. And he's like, I'm going to come up with a book series. And he came up with this guy, Captain Alatriste, and he wrote 5 books. What they did for this movie was they took the 5 books
And just
and
jammed
smashed
them all
them
together.
together into one movie, which is why when you're watching it, you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense. And then it just like jumps
Yeah.
to another
Doesn't make
story.
sense, yeah.
And it's like
It's
like
so
a
many
series
threads
of novellas.
that just don't
It's so
connect to
poorly
each
done.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so poorly done.
Like the first maybe half hour to 40 minutes,
Cool.
I was like, this is amazing. I was loving it. I was ready to go on any fucking journey they wanted to go
I
on.
texted you guys the same thing,
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah.
I was like, this movie is amazing.
It was like I honestly thought it was going to be like almost like a Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in fucking 1600 Spain.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
like
so
you
there
got
for that.
Like Italian assassin. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, you don't.
And that's the thing. I'm an easy mark for this shit because I don't know if I've said it on the pod before. I love the Three Musketeers.
Oh, yeah.
I love every version of the Three Musketeers.
Swordplay, any
Which is like
swordplay.
the era, like 10 years later after this.
Yeah, it's like I just love that, like them in their silly hats with fucking
On God.
fencing. You know,
The hats are sick, dude.
I think it's fucking cool. I love Musketeers. I love every version of the story. I love Man in the Iron Mask. I love all that shit. So like to me, I'm watching a Spanish Three Musketeers. I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, wait, we're just jumping here now, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And like, what is happening?
You can't follow it.
This is the first movie I didn't finish. I turned it off.
What?
So like you said, hour in, I'm like, well, 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, here we go. The next half hour, I'm like, what just happened? I have no clue where the characters are going, what the story really is, and there's nothing happening. It's just constant, like, the violence is cool, but there's no story. So I'm like, you know what? If that's what they're going to do, let me skip the rest of this to see how far this goes.
I definitely was thinking, I'll just skip to the end.
Dude, I guarantee you.
Because I just was by the middle of it. I'm like, I'm lost. I don't even know what's happening.
Same thing. That's by the middle.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I'm like, hour and a half in. I'm like, I have another hour of this? I can't. How?
what I found interesting too
I
about
did see
it.
the battle scenes, though.
Because I knew the Battle of Rocroi was at the end,
I watched that.
which I needed to see. Because that's what was on Twitter.
That's why you picked.
I also enjoyed, like, the different type of fight scenes that we'll get into, like the boats and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the trenches where it's like,
Oh, yeah.
like World
It's cool.
War One.
It's
That's
cool, but confusing.
No, there's a lot to like in it. The thing that took me off guard was I didn't know it was a Spanish movie. Like I didn't know.
Oh, you
it was-
didn't?
Oh, like Viggo speaking
Viggo
Spanish?
Mortensen is in it. I assume it was like a Spanish production with Viggo speaking English.
Apparently, he lived a large portion of his life in Argentina.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
So there's a listener of Tell 'em Steve, Dave, and our show, TSD Groupie.
Yeah.
She messaged me when she saw we picked this and was like, "I'm so happy you guys are picking a Spanish movie." You know,
I think she actually requested it. Well, someone did. Sent us an email like a year ago to do this movie.
people have asked for this. Yeah. But I was talking to her, and I was like, "Can I ask you a question? How is Viggo Mortensen Spanish? Because I don't know." I was like, "Is it like good?" And she's like, "Oh, he's fluent."
Yeah.
And and she said he was doing a particular dialect to match like everybody else because that's not the typical Spanish
Right.
he
Well,
would
he's
speak.
Argentinian.
No, he's
Spanish.
American. But
Yeah, I know he's American, but he lived in
His-
Argentina, so I
yeah.
imagine it's a little different.
Different
It
than
is,
Spain.
yeah. But he was putting on that dialect. And apparently she lives in the town where this was like filmed.
Oh.
And like they've done screenings and Vigo's been there and like she sent me a picture of like Vigo like 10 feet from her.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fucking Aragon.
Who? I know. I mean,
Oh,
I'm so happy he got to use his sword skills again.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, he broke his foot kicking that helmet.
He did. You know, he also knocked out a tooth. Chipped his tooth as well. in a
And you know
fight
what I
scene.
found out? This is the sickest thing in like all those movies. You know, in Fellowship of the Ring,
Why don't we just do fellow?
when Lurtz, he like takes a knife. Aragorn stabs him in the leg with a knife. He pulls it out and he licks
know-
the blood on the blade.
Yeah, the scene.
And then he throws it. And Aragorn smacks it away with his sword. That was not planned.
Really?
Yes, he was supposed to throw it and miss completely. But he threw it right at his head. And fucking Vigo's so awesome, he hit the thing with the sword, and it's one of the coolest shots in any movie ever.
It was real. It was like he has to do this to
Yeah,
live.
or else I get fucked up by a fucking prop knife.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
And, you know, as an action star, he kills it in the role. It's just...
Oh, Alatriste is a sick, cool ass character.
There's-
Everything.
Yeah.
This movie oozes coolness.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just so
And
much
then-
It's
fun.
wasted potential.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest sin was, and here's the problem. I think if this is an American movie in 2006, we're getting one movie for each of the books. Or they're at least going to try like Master and Commander, right?
Right. Yeah.
Where if you took each of the 5 books and you told
One story at a time.
story, it's probably awesome. But when you're just crushing everything together and you're doing this mishmash, you're getting a disjointed movie, unfortunately. But there's good things in here. Like it's directed well. There's great action. The acting is pretty good from what I could gather. I mean, it's hard to tell with the other language, but like there's good elements that just don't come
The only
together.
thing it's missing is a coherent story.
Yes.
That's it. And then it would be a masterpiece.
There's also a lot of cliche, if you picked up on that. On purpose, I think.
I don't mind cliche.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but you know that quintessential Spanish hat down, can't see the eyes, just the.
That's what I was thinking.
You know
This
what
is
I'm
like
saying?
Sergio Leone
it's
shit,
got
you
that-
know?
It's got
I like
that
that
style,
you know?
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
just. I guarantee you, somebody could take this and chop it up and make it somewhat better with what's given. Because there's so much, and if you just cut away from the BS like side stories, you probably could get something pretty good.
Movie's also like 2.5 hours long.
It's a little too long.
so
too,
long.
But they're trying to capture 5 books in one shot.
Yeah.
And the director of this, who I think did a pretty good job, how would you say this in Spanish? Agustin? Augustin? I guess?
Yeah.
Augustine Yanes. Or Giannis. Right?
Whatever, dude.
Anyway, his name was.
Giannis,
He put out a movie in 2017 called Gold about the Aguirre expedition.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so we could
That's
probably
cool.
watch it. I would definitely watch it.
Seems like,
But like these movies have been nominated for like Spanish Oscars,
Of course,
the Goya
yeah.
Awards.
The Goya Awards.
That's what they're called, yeah.
He was a painter.
Yeah, but do you guys want to dive in?
I guess,
Sure.
as much as we can. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So this movie...
Should we give background?
Yeah. So this is an insanely complicated time in European history. It is the 30 Years' War, but this movie specifically deals with one theater of that war.
Well, I wanted to ask one question.
Yeah.
So the duration of the movie, because it starts with a kid as a little boy.
Yeah.
And it ends with him as a man. So is the time frame of the film the entire 30 Years' War
No.
about?
So what I was about to say is it's more interested in what is known as the 80 Years' War, which is a longer conflict, obviously, that is wrapped into the 30 Years' War. So the 30 Years' War is in Germany, for the most part. That's the main theater of where things are happening. You have the Holy Roman Emperor, who's Catholic, is fighting Protestant upstarts. The Swedish get involved in a huge way. Spain is allied with the Holy Roman Empire, and they're sending troops into Germany, too. There's stuff happening in Italy. At the same time, the English Civil War is happening in England. That gets wrapped
War
up
of the
with...
Roses.
No, the one we talked about with the Witch-Finder General.
Okay.
That.
Yeah, okay.
But this thing in Flanders, or the lowland, the Low Countries.
And Flanders, which they is modern day
Holland and
Belgium, yeah.
So, the Netherlands. The Dutch
Who are
are...
the Dutch?
What?
Who are the Dutch?
Who are they?
It's a Seinfeld reference.
So this area is part of the Spanish Empire.
I'll get it
Spain
one day.
controls. So we're in the reign of Philip IV. He's known as the Planet King. This is the first time there was ever an empire in which the sun never set. You've got
Biggest empire at the time.
Yes. You've got obviously the American holdings, which we all know about, right?
Yeah.
South America,
Florida,
New
yeah.
Mexico, all that shit. You've got the stuff in the Philippines. So that's the other side of the world.
Enjoy while you got it, guys.
Before the 80 Years' War really got going, the Spanish had a plan to invade China and take it over.
Really?
Yeah. That didn't happen, obviously.
Well, that would just be so crazy.
They wouldn't have succeeded.
It's like you'd have to you would need Russia's help, I would assume, right?
They don't have the manpower.
How?
It's a very different China. We're talking about medieval society versus a Renaissance society. There's guns. There's.
But you need to. It's so far.
I don't
Clearly,
think. I don't.
someone's never
I
seen
don't
The
think it's
Last
possible.
Someone's never seen The Last Samurai, clearly.
I don't think it's possible. But, yeah. Okay, and in Europe is really their Achilles heel because, one, you have this thing called the Iberian Union, which is where they've unified with Portugal. So there's one big country, and Spain proper. And then
So it's like a vassal Portugal, I guess.
sort of, but they've got all these territories. They're fighting the Turks too. It's fucking endless. They've got all these territories in Sicily and Italy, which there's just Italians in the Spanish Empire that they use. And then they've got this stuff up in Netherlands, Flanders, which the English are constantly trying to fuck with, and the French. And then these Dutch subjects want their independence. So when the stuff pops off in the Holy Roman Empire on these religious grounds, the Protestants, they're mainly Calvinists in the Flanders, get on board with this.
From like Lutherans, I guess.
John Calvin, the Calvinists.
Yeah, but Lutherans have spread, like, helped
Just
spread.
Protestantism in general.
Okay.
I don't know how many times we got to go through
I
that
know,
fucking
yeah.
mess, right?
Well, remember, everyone's a first-time listener.
So the Protestants start doing these because obviously Spain is a Catholic country. It's like the premier Catholic country.
The Inquisition.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, Catholic. I gotta admit, that's a bad line. It's probably not something that would have been said.
They crack down on any kind of Protestantism in the big cities where they're present. So out in the countryside, these Protestant priests will start doing what they call hedge preaching, where they would just be in the hedgerows of that region and spread the faith, right? And then they infiltrate cities and try and cause a rebellion. Eventually, they do cause a rebellion. And the Dutch kind of assert themselves. So it's an 80-year-long conflict.
Yeah.
There will be high points and low points, lulls where sometimes peace breaks out. In fact, the movie begins, we'll get to where it goes. But it ends with this Battle of Rocroi, which is the finale of the movie,
Yes.
and that is like the final independence of the Dutch.
That's kind of the end of the Spanish Empire, basically.
Not the empire, but
it's the beginning of the end.
It's the end of Spanish Holland, Spanish Netherlands.
It's the main battle for the existing empire. That's what they say in the beginning of the
It's a
movie.
turning point for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Hit their zenith.
Start the movie.
All right. So they talk about the Planet King, the Flanders threats, and we see Viggo, and he's in water.
Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Fighters.
Hold it. Oh, yeah. I was there.
You're going to buy King Philip's line on that?
Jesse. I was a frogman in 1620s Holland. I was holding my arquebus above my head. I couldn't get it wet or it wouldn't work anymore. Anyway, they brought in aliens and nobody cares about freedom in Spain anymore. I was out in the Baja living off the grid.
So they're doing like this ambush.
Yeah,
To a
they're sneaking
cannon
into a
Dutch-
Dutch camp.
Yeah.
Almost like an artillery camp. Because they have like a bunch of cannons
Yeah.
set up that they start pinning.
They spike the cannons,
Yeah.
And yeah, what is
Awesome.
spike in the cannons? You put like a
make it unusable.
Okay.
Put
Yeah.
You can't put anything in.
One thing I want to say about this era of warfare, obviously this is a transitional period where guns are starting to play the main role rather than being like a freak
Supplemental.
thing
Yeah.
that's
One volley.
something like the pike is still like the main thing, right? So when cannons start to like really proliferate around Europe, the first thing that happens is all of the city walls that have been standing there for the last 2,000 years are worthless. They can't
get
defend anything
demolished.
because they get exploded whenever
Yeah.
cannons hit them. So what the siege people end up doing is making these gigantic star fortresses. We have a few of them here in the United States.
Okay.
Ticonderoga being one of them. There's a few like in Baltimore and stuff. They're shaped like a star so that you can get overlapping fields of fire, and you can't really target them unless you get real close, you know? So the giant pitched battle is starting to go away from European battlefields. It'll come back, and
Yeah.
once
the
technology
start of
changes.
French, right?
But yes,
the
so
start of
what
French
ends up
War.
happening is you get these sieges that last years.
Where
And
you're trying to starve out people.
yeah, they'll surround cities and these fortresses, and they dig trenches, and it starts to look a lot like World War
So
I.
I saw it and I was like, are they just like cheating and using World War One like as if like a visual reference here? Because I was like, did they actually have
This is
trenches?
insanely
And
accurate.
they did.
This is insanely accurate.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
would use the ground and just like they find like a hill and just cut into the hill.
And what
The cannon
attackers
doesn't hit you.
what attackers will do generally. Well, the main thing that ends up usually happening is they try to starve out a city, which can take a long fucking
Yeah.
time. But if they are going to assault something, what they'll do is they'll dig trenches closer and closer and closer and move the cannons forward and then try and hammer like a wall down. Doesn't really work a lot, and the cost of life is insane. Like this is a very, very bloody and brutal time period. The Italians actually called this type of warfare bad warfare, just because it was just so miserable.
It's like not as glorious as like.
There's nothing glorious about it. Yeah.
So
No war is glorious.
I mean,
It's never. It's war. It's not meant to be
the
glorious.
trench ones, though, in particular, are so
ugly.
like ugly and grimy,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean,
Whereas like two enemies,
that's why we got boomsticks.
yeah, but two enemies meeting on the field, you know, there's like, yeah.
Come on, have some romanticism, Steve.
Not everything could be Agincourt.
But so while he's there, one of his guys dies,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Take care of my son."
He's also like with some noble who's like beneath him.
A duke, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I got to say about this time period as far as warfare, mercenaries have proliferated everything. So you've got professional soldier class that are just for hire. Any country, any king can hire them. Alatriste is a
Alatriste's one of them,
mercenary.
yeah.
And a good one at that.
Yes.
He's been fighting since
That-
he was 13.
That tradition will go on for a few more centuries. Like you could think of like the
Blackwater.
Well, no. I was going to say the Hessians in like
Yeah.
the American Revolutions are like what's left over from this era.
Yeah, but we taught them a lesson, didn't we, boys?
So now he goes and he has this guy's kid,
Yeah.
You know.
The guy who died.
the guy who died,
Inigo.
Inigo.
Yeah.
And he's talking to like this friar guy, and the guy is like a writer, and they're kind of like buddies. He calls,
He's got like a whole crew.
yeah.
They hang out in a bar.
Yeah.
He really likes calling people cuckolds in this,
Yeah. They really
particularly one guy.
early on too, like at the scene.
So is he banging the writer guy's wife? Is that what it
Yeah.
was? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Or they had a past relationship but then continued
Right.
it after.
It's his friend's wife.
He's not a good person.
No, Alatriste is kind of a shit.
He's not a good person.
That's why he's like lovable though, in
No.
a way. Yeah, yeah. He's
That
like,
scamp.
yeah. He's Lothario, and it's Viggo. You know, you can't stop Viggo from banging your wife if Viggo wants to.
You're right.
I would be more upset with Viggo than my wife if that happened because it's like, why didn't you choose me? Like, what? Am I not good enough?
Yes, Viggo.
Then he'll probably be like, there's enough for everyone.
Whatever happened to him?
He just did.
Bought a horse.
He directed a wet.
He bought a horse?
Yeah. Didn't he? Wasn't he in a movie where like he loved the horse so much that he?
Hidalgo?
Yeah, and he bought it.
Maybe. I don't know.
And then like that's what he did. He just lived as a horseman.
He just directed a western, which I actually just recorded on my DVR.
Exactly,
I'll
a
watch it.
horseman.
Wow. I know he was in that movie with like the Russian mob.
Yeah, Easter Promises.
Yeah.
I
see
think he
that.
won an Oscar a couple years ago for Green Book.
Okay, so he's still around.
He's still around, but
Good.
they don't make the movies for Viggo anymore.
Viggo like should be a megastar. You know?
Yeah, he bought.
Well,
the
I mean,
horse.
If he was around like 30 years ago, he would be like a Tom Cruise.
He's almost 70 now.
Oh my God.
He's 66.
Well,
so
he was 88 in Lord of the Rings.
what?
He had a-
Yeah, Aragorn is like fucking in his 90s.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Wait, hold on. Explain this. I did not know
He's
Aragorn was
got
that
elven
old.
blood
Yeah.
from the Numenorians.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Like, he's gonna die
The Rangers
eventually,
of the North are like defending the old realm from when there was an empire there.
So he's not even a real human.
No, he is.
You bite your tongue.
He has elf blood.
but only like a speck.
He's elfish.
You're gonna call him a mudblood? Is that what you're gonna do?
You got an ounce of elf blood. You're an elf. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was like 90.
Damn mudblood.
Yeah.
So
He will not let the White City fall. He won't do it.
turns out this kid is pretty smart. So he's doing like finances like in this tavern with his crew. At the same time, he has to go. He gets a call to be like, "Hey, I got a job for you. It's a safe job."
I want to correct something. Viggo was nominated for Best Actor for Green Book. He didn't win.
Okay.
He should have.
He was good in it.
He has to split the purse with someone. This scene, outside of the battles, is probably the coolest for me.
This is when I was like, this is
This
great.
could be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's like they really don't trust each other. Like,
So
they
he
don't-
gets contacted by the Inquisition. to assassinate a guy he's not supposed to know who it is.
Yes.
And him and this Sicilian dude.
Palermo.
Palermo.
Yeah, from Palermo.
Yeah. They get together and they're going to take out these two guys. And they do. Well, they're about to.
Yes.
And then Viggo
Heretics
stops it and
must
he's like,
die.
what's going on?
Something's up.
Yeah, so he stops the assassination and we find out that it's the Prince of Wales.
And the Duke of
Right.
Buckingham.
Now, the Prince of Wales at this time is, of course, Charles I, the future Charles I,
Yep.
who we talked about in the Witchfinder General movie. He's going to have a civil war in England. He's a very important guy, and he's going to have his head chopped off by Oliver Cromwell. Now, none of that matters, but I thought it was gonna, and I was like, this is sick.
I did look it up, and apparently, like, this was like a thing where he did go and like,
To Spain.
and like they were talks about like them kind of
Spain and England are like vicious enemies at this time.
yeah.
But they try to like make peace and stuff. This is not long after the Spanish Armada. I think it's like 20 years after.
It's been smashed.
Yes. So things
So
are
Francis
already
Drake.
starting to turn down for the Spaniards.
But yeah, he was gonna try to ask for the hand of someone at this point.
Right, yeah.
Like yeah, he was actually there at this point, like trying to do a thing.
Do some
Yeah,
diplomacy.
but it's cool. Like they take out these guards, and like you think you're gonna get like kind of this cool like espionage plot,
Yeah.
which you probably do in that first book.
Right. But then like he botches this job, and then that's like the last it matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he gets sent to Oliveras, who's one of Philip IV's favorites. Real guy. Pretty much ran the Spanish government at this time because Philip IV is... Well, he gets involved with policy, but Oliveras is like his go-to guy.
It's like in Game of Thrones, the hand.
Yeah.
They also show the meeting between the two parties with the silly hats and dwarves.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, this is great.
Oliveras, when he was a kid, his father was like one of the big noble families and purposely got him and the young prince together to like become friends when they were like 10 years old. So they've been buddies for a long fucking time.
He set this up.
Yes. And
You guys are boys. You're gonna be loyal.
and they've been running shit together for like,
Yeah.
the entire reign of Philip.
This is where, in the movie now, it starts going downhill.
Well, this is the first like janky thing.
It cuts to
Back to Flanders.
Inigo.
Well, wait. Yeah. Yep.
And you're like,
Oh yeah.
you're like, I actually noted. I'm like, these cuts are weird. Like, what's happening? Like, I maybe it's just the child parts that are just want to like make it artistic or something. But like everything, like the angles were weird, the cuts were weird, the conversation was weird.
Yeah, I didn't know
just-
what they were talking
So
about.
real
Nothing
quick,
made sense.
Real quick, I want to say this. We're also reading it. I watched it on YouTube.
We're reading subtitles.
That's the only place you could.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's the Google version
Yeah.
of the Spanish.
Sure.
How accurate
We're
is it?
probably missing some context.
Of course.
Yeah. Like I'm sure we're missing something in translation too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change the cuts though.
No.
It does feel like almost like Spanish soap opera kind of. Like
Yeah.
Mexican soap opera.
That's what I thought too.
It
I
does
was
feel like that at times.
It doesn't seem like it was a film production.
You will die for me, Diego.
Yeah.
It
But
doesn't seem like it was a movie production. It seems like TV.
Angelica meets Inio, and Emilia, she's like, I'm gonna be such a cunt to this
Yes.
guy forever.
For no reason.
She has decided it immediately.
He's a nobody.
I
No,
must
he's-
use this kid.
She's using him to get to the captain. They want to kill the captain.
Yeah.
They want to frame him.
But she's a little kid, and she's like this mastermind almost.
I think she's masterminding for
her father.
For her father. She's royalty.
Okay.
So
Her father gets sent to fucking
yeah.
the Americas. He gets sent to like
Yes.
Venezuela.
Yeah. There's like a whole big plot going on, but it's not clear at this point, which is on purpose because you're supposed to be like, ooh, there's some intrigue. Like, why does she have interest in this boy? And clearly she's above him. But then it doesn't really pay off,
No, nothing pays off.
you know?
But Alatriste gets sent
Well,
to like
before that, it cuts to him and the Spanish Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Diego's
Oh,
Alatriste
God,
is
yeah.
having sex with
Right.
his friend's wife,
Yeah.
which is like, what? Like, is that a thing?
She is, as far as I know, a fictional character. However, that becomes Viggo Mortensen's real wife.
No
Oh,
way.
how
Yeah.
nice.
Yep. Adriana Gill, yeah, they get married. She looks kind of like Julia Roberts a
So
bit.
they were having sex. They weren't filming.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't just acting, was it?
I mean, you put two good-looking people like
Sure,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing a Spanish Lothario. What do you think is going to happen?
They have to have the boom operator hold back the gaffer just to make sure he doesn't have sex with Viggo.
The cameraman fainted. He was so.
So
Yeah.
aroused. Yeah.
So there's some talk about the Inquisition.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, which I was surprised it was still going on at this point.
Yeah.
It just feels like a little late for it, but
Well, it went on for a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly when it stopped.
Wasn't
but
this the
probably
tail
not long
end?
after? Yeah, it was probably the tail end.
Look that up, Brian. You gotta. When did
Jamie.
the Inquisition end? Because I feel like this is 1622.
Yeah. Well, they're not going after like Muslims anymore. It's they're
people.
looking at heretics.
Well, they're
Yeah.
heretics, quote unquote.
Yeah.
They're just looking to use it as a power move.
okay, this is interesting. Years of the Spanish Inquisition. If you just want to go by straight years, it's 1480 to 1820.
Wow.
That's what they're saying.
Well, that's way far.
So yeah, so
I was like 1690. They got to be
so
done, right?
so 1480 to 1530 was like the Spanish Inquisition was most active. 84 to 500 to 1530 was Valencia, where they went after Jews. Barcelona was 1484 to 1505. They went after Jews. And then 1571 to 1820 was the official period of the Mexican Inquisition.
Ah.
So I guess they were doing it on this continent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Shit, that's. Well,
Yeah.
We all learned something. We this episode was a success.
So where are we? So they're searching They're searching.
They arrest him.
Alatriste.
Oh, quote unquote.
Yeah,
arrest
he's
him
arrested.
for Inquisition stuff.
But I like that one guy. It's the Italian guy, right?
It's
Yeah.
his boy.
Yeah, he lets him
Well,
keep
his enemy.
his enemy.
His
but
frenemy.
they have a respect.
Yeah.
We're like, one day we're gonna fucking have it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have it out.
But until that, there's gonna be a lot of sexual tension.
I mean, he's a sexy Italian man. I'm sure you guys have that problem when you meet
This is
people.
true. Yeah.
This is why we can only hang out once a month.
Someone commented on
Too much power.
I can only resist so long. Someone commented on Seinfeld School episode 1. They had never seen you for some reason, which is weird because we're on
I'm
YouTube.
on every episode.
I guess they listen, but they wanted to watch on YouTube for whatever reason. Like, wow, Steve's really good looking.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was this a guy? Or,
It was a guy, of course. Of course it's a guy. Did you really think it would be a chick?
I had to ask.
You knew.
Thank you. I'm not though, but thank you.
It's the cheerleader effect.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I like that he lets him keep the knife. Like, you're going to need this to kick some
Yeah.
ass on a bit.
But he didn't.
No, he's just kind of let go.
Which I was like, huh? Like, at least make that pay off. Why show it? It had no bearing at all.
And as he's leaving the alley, the Italian man just shows up and just like cuts him, just like to be a prick.
Well,
Yeah.
they're walking and they're discussing what's happening because it's like the Italian guy's like, hey, we're gonna fight at some point. And there's 3 people walking down an alley, and they're about to fight together because they think they're about to be jumped.
and when you're watching, you're like, this is about to pop off. This is gonna be
Dude,
sick.
he hands Alatriste the gun, and he's like, get ready. And nothing happens. They walk by, and the Italian's like, give my gun back. And he just slices his arm. He's like, remember me. It's like, what is happening?
Like, you really should have just put in a quick fight scene there.
Yeah. Missed opportunity. Very tense. And I'm like, it still has these like glimmering moments of cool.
Oh, it's all cool.
But then it's like, it goes nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You're waiting for it to like be meaningful, and then it's never is. That's
Which I
what
guess
hap-
is like
it's
the-
all just like tension.
It's just like the Inquisition.
There's a great line where it's like a woman's beauty is the worst tyranny there is.
A grown man is saying this to like a 14-year-old.
Yes.
He's right.
And
That's
he's like,
that's
they're
your uncle.
warning him.
That's your uncle going, don't get married.
Yeah. And then he goes, and then he says, I think this, I don't know what you guys had this translation with, but the translation had to be off here because he's like, I should kill you now. And he sends him off. And it's just like, what? Like, why?
I
why?
don't even remember that.
It's
Yeah.
like, why do you want to kill him? I guess
Can
it's
we
more
can we
like-
skip to when they get sent to Breda?
Well, it's about
yeah,
to happen.
probably. Yeah.
So the aristocrat like is talking to him about his like shit boots. He walks
Yeah.
around in like disheveled shoes,
Yeah.
like for no
Because
reason.
he's broke. I don't know why he's broke.
No, it's like a choice.
Yeah.
It's like he almost feel like, to me, this is how I took it. It's like
Just soldier boots.
I'm a soldier. I'm not gonna like change. I'm not rich. Like I have to live like in a life of austerity almost.
Yeah.
Like that's how I took it. Like Vigo's doing it on purpose because the guy's like, "I'll buy you boots." And he's
I
like,
also took it
no.
like no matter what boots he has, they're gonna end up just like that because he's doing so much action.
"Oh,
You know what
that's
I mean?
good." They go over his service record,
Yeah.
and
Well, he's getting fucking inquiried because he botched the assassination.
yeah,
And Philip IV, well, Oliveira sends him to fucking Flanders again.
yep.
And
Breda.
So this is a decisive battle. This is one of those sieges. They've surrounded the border fortress of Breda. So what has happened here at this point in the 80 Years' War is more or less the Netherlands is established as a country. But the Spanish are still trying to hold on to what they got, and the Dutch have been using Breda to like raid the southern part of what
Okay.
was the full Spanish territory. The southern part is what is now Belgium. This is still Spanish. The Spanish surround Breda, put it under siege, and they're trying to starve them out. They've been there for like 2 years. It's one of these star cities, so they've built the fucking thing.
Their only choice
Yeah.
really is.
And then we got a cool scene where they're like in the trenches and they got to dig.
sick.
Yeah.
And I love
The eggs.
Alatriste's digging a trench, and the guy's head from the other side pops through because he was digging too.
Yeah.
And he just fucking stabs him in the neck.
yeah.
He like stabs a kid in the neck, slices his throat, and throws a bomb in.
Yep.
I don't think they were digging a trench. I think that these were tunnels that were.
Well, they're
built
digging
before.
through, yeah,
They're
yeah.
going through the tunnel to do a demolition because they have a bomb.
Well,
on
they're trying to blow up.
They're trying to blow up
Yeah.
the entrance to theirs.
This is the same thing that went on in World War I.
Yeah. And also, this scene was really cool with the eggs. I have to mention it because, yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
young dudes running through the trenches. You get that cool scene, and he's like, "Do you have the eggs?" And he's like, "I got the eggs." And he takes out 2 eggs. One's broken and one's good. And he's like, "Ah, you fucking clumsy asshole." Takes a bowl, he cracks an egg, he mixes some spices, and they dip bread in the raw egg and spice and eat it and pass it along. It is disgusting, but it's a nice touch to show, like, hey,
How miserable this is.
it's fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like that's like a luxury for them.
Yeah.
I mean, Stallone did it.
The general that they show is a real guy. His
Yes.
name's Ambrogio Spinola. He was an Italian like master of these sieges, and he works,
Working for-
the Spanish. He's also like from the Spanish part of Italy,
Okay.
so they're like
Yeah. It's what Canada's going to be in 6 months.
Yeah. God, I can't wait to take them over. And Greenland too.
Another interesting part of this whole war is in the southern part, in the Spanish part, is Dunkirk, which will become famous
Yeah.
in World War II. But it's a pirate haven, and they're using the Spanish are paying privateers to just blockade the Dutch. The Dutch, like right off the bat, from the moment they're established, like have a great fleet, and the Spanish are trying to keep it bottled up.
Well, that's where Amsterdam is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just...
Right. Well,
have tons
the
of
Dutch
water.
immediately after this is over explode onto the world stage and become like a major power. They get colonies all over
Yeah,
the place.
they a bunch of... They're
Yeah.
very well in the slave
Yes.
business.
Well, yeah. And then they found New Amsterdam. And,
Yep.
and
I'm New
even
York.
South Africa.
But I like that at the end of the battle, they show the like the surrender. And it's just the painting.
Yeah. That's Diego Vasquez. Was like a prominent. He was like the court painter at the time, and he's like a master. They make a joke about how he can only paint heads. That was like a thing that other artists in the court would say about him to like disparage him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how they would shit on him?
Yeah, it wasn't real. It was like something that
That's cool.
that they said.
I like that. It's
That's a
fun.
good
It's
detail.
fun. Yeah.
But I like that they recreate the painting. It looks fucking just like it.
Yeah.
That cut is great. Then we get 10 years later.
Yeah, so after this fall of Breda, there's actually a peace treaty. And Spain and the Dutch will be at peace for 12 years. And that's what it warps to, essentially, is the next part of it.
We also should mention, actually, before the peace, I forgot, the captain that you said was real, they're all complaining that they didn't get paid. They're like, we didn't get paid. And he's like, what are you, German? Like, you don't get paid until the job's done.
The Germans are like the most mercenary of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's the Holy Roman Empire, and they're all these little states.
Yeah.
So they're just soldiers for hire. There's no like national.
Well, they're like, we're actually
army.
Spanish, dude.
Yeah.
But he's like, the general's not even getting paid. Like, shut up.
Yeah, that is a good line. I did like
I'm not
that.
paying someone who's going to die.
So now they're like, the vets are at the port. They're coming home,
Yeah.
and it's 10 years later.
There's an urgent letter for Alatriste.
Yep. And France versus Spain, they're saying. Like
It's coming.
It's on the way. Cardinal Richelieu.
Richelieu, yeah. Who is the
huge
guy from the Musketeers.
He's in the Musketeers, yeah.
Yeah. This is the early reign of Louis XIV, the Sun King. So
My guy.
this is the beginning of French dominance of Europe.
Yeah, they're starting to take over.
They knew it was a problem. And they say that, and then I believe there's a Dutch boat that's leaving with some gold.
Yup.
And they're like, you're going to go get that gold back.
It's a Flemish boat.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Dutch.
They say Flemish.
and
They have to board the boat.
And Diego's like, yeah, but where's the gold going? Like, I'm going to get the gold back for the king. Is it going to us? Is it going, like, where's it going? He knows where it's going. He's showing his, like, I know the deal.
He gets like jobs.
Yeah.
And
They're shady.
yeah, but they don't really
And I
connect to anything.
And here's the thing, it's like, and this is a thing.
Yeah.
When you're watching the movie, I'm like, I know that this is like the inciting incident for one book. Where
Yeah,
it's like
right.
it starts like they give you background on where he's at.
knew that.
No, what I'm
I
saying is like
didn't.
no, like you could totally see like this is
Yeah.
clearly the start of one book where it's
Right.
like he doesn't get this gold,
But
and
if-
the rest of the book is about that gold.
Right.
But if you don't know that there's a book series, this is just
Oh, I'm
like
not saying it
what is
works in the
happening.
movie. It's all over the place.
yeah.
And they go and they rob the boat.
He has to kill one of his guys because he sees
they have
what
a-
they're
That was a cool
stealing.
moment.
They have
Yeah.
a play first before the boat,
Oh, that's true. They do go to the play.
which I couldn't tell you anything why. I guess they just show players all in the same spot, and then that's
don't even remember.
I
well,
checked
he's
out
watching
after
his
this.
actress.
I checked out after the boat. After the boat raid, I was like, I can't do this.
His the kid he adopted, his big proto son, basically, is now older and like he's still
Right.
getting played by Angelica.
Yeah.
He's like,
From across the sea.
I just have to be
Yeah.
a sap for her always.
But they fuck.
Eventually,
So it's like, I guess the sapping paid off.
yeah. So Viggo is in the tub and the girl shows up, the actress, and she's like, "My husband's died. Me and you should get married."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I can't
I
do
ain't
that."
doing that. I don't love you.
He's like, I gotta go be a pirate now and put a crew together. And he goes to this pirate in prison.
Exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I can't. I got a pirate.
Busy.
She's like, I'm gonna be rich. Like when he dies, I'm inheriting everything. You could get married and like stop doing this merc shit. He's like, nah.
He's reading an early version of Peter Pan. This guy.
I'm a
makes
pirate. I belong on the sea.
Long in the sea.
Yo ho, yo ho.
He really misses the Navy SEAL days.
Oh yeah.
So he puts this pirate crew together, which I enjoyed a lot. I thought that was cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I like the moment where they all get the gold and he's with all these pirates. And they're like, so what are we doing with all this gold?
And he knows
And-
it belongs to the king. So.
Yeah, he's like, this is the king's gold.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, but what if we just take it?
What have we left?
And he's like,
No.
and he has to kill the guy. And he's holding.
At least I tried.
The guy's like,
He's like,
I
yeah,
had to try.
Yeah.
And Viggo's like, I know. Like,
It's very-
it's too much money not
Yeah.
to.
yeah.
Right.
That was a cool moment. Again, there's so much cool shit.
Everything's cool. It just oozes cool. But cool without purpose
Yeah.
is
No
just
sense.
tedious.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have just watched clips and it would have been just as good.
You can make an amazing trailer for this movie.
Dude,
Oh, the trailer's probably incredible.
this is like I said, after this is where I checked out. I know like the battles after this and the sword fights and what they mean, but the intricacies of the conversations couldn't tell you, and I don't think they matter.
Yeah, they don't.
So I think I did the right thing.
Angelica keeps using Inigo
I saw her naked.
after she. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I mean, it was okay.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was okay.
I'm always a proponent of
Sure.
nudity and hot chicks. So, they mentioned Cardinal Richelieu, and now Inigo sells out Alatriste, right?
Does he?
I thought he does. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
Again, it's a blur.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
By this
Yeah.
point, you're just like,
Please end.
skip to the end.
Oh well,
Yeah.
this is kind of we're getting to the end. So, he.
Well, there's this whole thing
We're
with
getting
the.
to the end. I stopped midway through.
No, we're just.
It's like love story.
Yeah,
That's what we're about to get
Yeah.
to. So he goes to the girl and he's like, "Hey, I want you now." She's like, "I can't. I'm with someone else." And he's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill that guy." And he shows
Oh
up.
yeah.
Well, hold on. The king gives him a like gold
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
and it's like more than he makes in his lifetime.
Inigo, right?
No, gives it to Alatriste
Oh,
for his
say.
work on the ship as like payment.
okay. I'm thinking of
Right?
the other.
And he's like, all right, I'm going to use this to buy the girl a necklace, a jeweled necklace. And then he goes to bring it to her.
They're
and,
jewels, Betty.
and it turns out the king is banging his girlfriend.
Well, he kills like a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
Like, who is fucking this girl?
Yeah.
And then the king comes
he
out.
steps
He's like,
out. He's like, never mind.
the one guy
Yeah.
I can't kill.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah, when he's standing there, it's like, ugh,
yeah.
head down.
yeah.
All right, I'll leave. You win.
And
And then he has like a fight with like random guys, one of whom is the Sicilian dude from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. But he's already like tuckered out, so he loses.
he gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he's
doesn't he
laying there
kill him?
bleeding.
Don't they both like die almost?
No.
He's like mortally wounded, but obviously he's not dead because he continues through
No,
the movie.
no, but the Italian guys, he's like, he says I'm dying.
No. He walked. Oh well, there's a scene where
are you talking about?
there's a scene where the Italian guy is like,
He's against the pillar, and he's like, I'm dying.
Yeah. I think he dies there.
And he dies there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They kill you. Vigo gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And he's bleeding. He's like, didn't you ever just stop to think that like this whole killing each other thing is just useless? And he's just like, I'm dying.
no,
dude.
that's not the Italian guy. That's someone else.
That's someone else.
The Italian guy kills him and stabs Vigo and walks away.
Right.
Oh, okay.
The Italian guy dies because Inigo shows up
Oh, right. And defeats
and
him.
he defeats him.
Yeah.
Okay.
In revenge for Vigo.
Right. Yes. And the other guy was like his friend.
It was the
that
guy he kept
betrayed
calling
him.
a cuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He goes, did you really mean it when you called me a cuck? And
He's
they're
like,
both
nah.
laying there bleeding. He's like, nah, I didn't.
Oh, that's the one.
And
I'm
the guy's
talking
like,
about.
thank you. And he like lets him die.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
And
yeah.
Vigo, like right after the guy died, he just mutters like, fucking cuck.
I know you still hear me.
But yeah, so the girl comes out and she kind of saves Vigo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She tends to his wounds. She's like, yeah, that's why we couldn't be together.
And then they send him to Rocroi.
Yeah.
And we're back in Flanders again.
Yep. I was so annoyed though that he lost the duel to the Italian.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to watch Alatriste lose
No.
a duel, you know?
Although the way that young guy kills him is really cool.
Wait, it is cool.
It's
but,
so cool.
But before he goes to Rocroi, he's recovered and he's back and he's like, where's the girl? And now she's in like a syphilis ward.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, where did this come from?
The king gave her
King.
syphilis.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was fucking around.
Yeah, for those Habsburgs, man. They're fucking fucked up chins and their incest.
Yep. Can't trust them.
And the kid is arrested for spying. Angelica set him up.
Yeah.
And they're like, Vigo's like, come with me to Rocroi. That's the only way we can make penance, basically. And they go.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's the Battle of Rocroi.
Yep.
Rocroi, however you want to say it.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, so now the French have gotten involved. The Spanish are trying to keep the balance of power. The French are trying to move up in the world. This is what is known. This is an important battle because it shows up until this point, Spain has been kind of invincible. They just win everything.
They control the world.
They lose a lot of men doing it, and it's bankrupting them. But they're still winning all these battles and wars and things.
I guess when you control the entire global economy,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much you're spending.
Alatriste is part of what's called a tercio, and this is the formation that the Spanish became famous for using, and they have this reputation of being invincible. It's, a synthesis of the pikeman and the musketeer. The French will win this battle in a interesting way. So it's really like modernization versus this old tactic the Spanish are using, and the French have kind of come up with new ways of doing things.
Well, I feel like that kind of always, when you look at like the history of warfare and like almost how empires change, there's one force that figures out the next thing to do before everybody else, and it allows them to kick ass.
Before this period, the dominant thing on battlefields was the French knight. They were the best. Nobody could beat them. And then the Swiss and the Spaniards started using pikes. And it really put an end to the dominance of men on horseback or running a giant wall of guys with lances.
Horses, yeah.
So the French start using these pistols and using flanking tactics. And the Spanish don't really have a response to this. They can ride up to a pike formation, blast it, and then ride away.
And they have armor, right?
Yeah. Everybody's got armor. They end up, in this particular battle, surrounding the Spanish army and routing their artillery. So the artillery's behind the tercio formations, and they're fucked. They have to run away, along with most of the other tercio units. If it turns into 6 tercio units, do not flee. They stand their ground. And the French commanders will ride up to them and be like, we respect what you're doing. This is brave.
They show in the
They're like,
movie.
you guys did a great, this was an honorable fight. Surrender.
With
it's
honor.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Alatriste gives them what it was actually said on the battlefield that day. Is,
Oh, really?
You forget, this is a Spanish regiment. And he's like, okay, we have to finish you off now.
Yeah.
And they fight till like the last man.
Yeah, and I have the numbers.
Respectable.
Yeah.
So it was 23,000 French against 26,000 Spanish. 4,000 dead or wounded French. And these are the casualties for the Spanish side. 15,000 men. Wow. 8,000 dead or wounded. 7,000 captured. And they captured all 18 of like their artillery guns.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was a big thing at the time. Like, you know how we think of like the Roman eagle as like a standard?
Yeah.
You don't lose that.
Yeah.
In this period, it's cannons. You got to hold on to your
Well, they're
cannons.
so
Otherwise,
expensive.
it's like insanely dishonorable.
Okay.
It's expensive. Just to make them,
Right.
just to transport them costs money.
Right.
What's really, I would say, the best scene in the movie,
Oh, yeah.
what
this is sick.
shines is that pike battle. Pike versus pike. And you see people crawling
Yeah.
underneath and slashing. And,
It's cool.
It really shows like
Cuts.
this is just how do you fight
brutal.
this?
It's brutality. And we all
Surviving
know that,
one of those battles looks like impossible. Right?
Roman, it's the Roman phalanx, right?
If it's similar,
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Up until this, it's been unbeatable.
And this will give way, this type of warfare gives way eventually, like within the next 50 years or so after this, to what we see in like the American Revolution, the French and Indian War, and the Napoleonic Wars, those lines,
Yeah.
Of the 1700s.
Well, Napoleon figures that shit out next.
Oh, yeah, the squares.
Exactly.
Didn't
But
work
I mean,
that well for the Russians.
and
sadly.
in the movie, before Alatriste dies, he tells the kid, "Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And the kid ends up writing the story of Alatriste, which I'm presuming is how the book series
There and back again.
Yeah. An
a
Alatriste
Spaniard story.
No, Inigo, you bow to no one.
How great would that ending would have been if they played the Lord of the Rings theme? He gets shot. By the way, we should probably say that the last shot of the movie, beautiful. He has the two cutlasses. He's just kind of standing there, like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
And then you just get gunned down.
Yeah, they get smoked.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So that's the end of the movie. I have a weird. I don't know where to rank this because it's not a good movie, but it's kind of a great movie at the same time.
I had trouble.
Yeah,
I had trouble.
There's good things in there. Mm-hmm. You know, it's
just
it's
hard.
worth watching just for the visuals.
It's hard to sit through
Yeah.
the bullshit drama and storytelling because there's no payoff. But I would even go so far to argue that it's not just the storytelling that is affected, that affects this. It's the characters themselves. Not a single character in this do you actually have an attachment to, including Alatriste.
Yeah, kind of. You're right.
You don't feel bad for anyone. You don't really feel happy. It's just kind of like, here's some people doing this thing.
If you watched scenes of this out of context on YouTube, you'd have the same experience you have watching the movie.
Exactly. And you need that story to at least attach you to the main character. Like, you know?
It's just a big missed opportunity. It's one of those things where it's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
You could have been great and you fucked it up.
I'm giving it a 6.
I think that's accurate. Yeah, 6 is good.
I just love Musketeer shit so much.
You give it a 7.
I gave it a 7. But yeah, I don't disagree with you guys. It's just, it had so much cool shit where I was like, this is cool. And it's like, they just fumbled it. And it's like, this is something where it's like, I want it to get a remake or like, you know what it might be great as? A series.
Yeah.
You do 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Each season's a different
Give
book.
it that time.
You give it time to breathe.
Yeah.
You still do all your like you know, soap opera shit.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I think there is a TV series.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, there is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's things I like for sure.
It's Captain Alatriste is, I think, the series. And
Yeah.
it's probably better, to be honest.
It's worth watching, and I would definitely watch like the other movie from the director.
Let's preface that it's worth watching. If you are a fan of like cool action scenes, it's worth watching. But if you're looking for like a movie to attach to, it's not. It's like a 5.
Well, you know
what
why
I
I
mean?
think it's worth watching is because it's interesting. Because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very different. Whether it's good or bad, like I think that there's merit in just watching this because I haven't seen a movie like this, for better or worse, in a while, where it's like so weird and kind of like almost disjointed. You know, just like I don't know.
It's interesting. It's worth watching at least once.
Yeah, I'll never watch this again probably.
Yeah.
No.
But you know,
But I there were times, the difficulty that I also think I had was I like to take notes as I'm watching, or at least kind of like jot down ideas. But it's in Spanish, so I would keep having to rewind.
Yeah.
oh, that
you
kept
know?
happening to me. Yeah,
So
I would pause, write my
It
notes.
takes
and
long,
go back.
yeah, it takes longer.
Yeah, it's
to get it done.
I have the same difficulty with that stuff. But
Yeah.
what can you do?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, you do it. I don't want. The last time I did it, I felt personally offended.
What?
Brian has drawn Alatriste.
I think it's good. It's my little musketeer, man.
I got no words for this.
I mean, you nailed it. You knew what it was.
I knew what it was. I knew what it was.
He has
Wow.
his knife. He has his
Wow.
dagger.
I don't
That
think
is-
you've really captured Viggo's handsomeness.
Right.
Oh, I think it's there. You could see the nose and mustache.
He has his eyes. He really. That's how it's say. Actually, in fact, this is a shorter episode.
Really?
Yeah, we're at an hour.
So we've done 2 movies in a row. One had Legolas. The next one has Aragorn. When are we throwing a Gimli movie?
We need Ian McKellen or Gimli. Yeah.
Yeah,
Elijah Wood.
we're gonna have to grab one. We can't go an episode without mentioning Lord of the Rings. So let's figure this out, boys. We got to pick episode next, right?
Yeah. Google what Ian McKellen is in, or what's Gimli's actor's name?
I don't know. He was in Indiana Jones.
Oh, it's fucking. Oh my God. Not Jonathan Rhys-Davies, is it?
I think that's it. Yeah, I think you got it.
Let's find the one who plays Gollum.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
Let's get him.
It
might
is
have to-
Jonathan.
They
Rhys
have him
Davis.
in the belly of that iron beast.
We might have to reach. Might have to do some reaching to get it onto the show. Might have to be a Patreon.
Apes are real, right? Let's just do Planet of the Apes with Andy
Yeah.
Serkis.
Apes think.
Who is he in that?
He plays the monkeys. He's Caesar.
Oh, that thing.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the
No, not the real one.
the Tim Burton one.
The real one.
The real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seamos.
The best one. All right.
Well, before we get out of here,
Sure.
guys, this week on Patreon is Keep or Kill, a show where we test concepts and you guys vote if the show will come back or if it will die. This week is called Our Film School, where me and Steve go through.
I like this one. I
Yeah.
watched it.
You watched it?
I did.
Yeah, but you have a personal attachment.
Yeah, it's very personal. This is very personal.
You
Yeah.
get to know us a little bit.
Yeah, we go
deeper.
through kind of where we were at in our lives, and we made different films. We watch the film with you, and you show it. For audio listeners, we're gonna put the film up on the Patreon for free, so you can watch it and
Nice.
you'll understand it because you may need some visual aids.
Yeah.
But you'll have the ability to watch it and understand it. But we're going over the first short film we made together called
Ever.
Full of Rings.
Our
and
student film.
yeah, and this is called Keep or Kill, and we're testing the concept called Our Film School.
I miss you, Tino.
So Tino rules. You'll understand if you watch on the Patreon. So go to patreon.com/reviewing history. Check that out. It's every Friday there's a drop. So far the responses have been positive. People said Steve is handsome.
Wait, it's from the film school episode?
No, that didn't drop yet. It's
Oh,
from
was this-
it was from
Say what?
Seinfeld School, I think.
Oh, Seinfeld. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that before.
But guys, like, subscribe. Did you guys say bye?
I
Bye.
don't remember. Bye.
I want to give a big thank you to Tom, Steve, Dave, Brywalt, Q, Get 'em. Last record down in the studio. We greatly appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. Helps us grow the show. Spread the good word. What's the good word? Simpsons, right? Australian episode.
Andy!
Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. ReviewingHistoryPod.com. Our Review History Pod on Twitter. Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Patreon.com/Reviewing History for all of our Patreon shenanigans.
Shenanigans?
Yeah, that's fun. Fun and frivolity is taking place over there. Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert. That's with 2 P's. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank and review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.
I am the P-Man! I am the P-Man!